All right. Welcome to the Rowdy Ones, episode 11. We have no one other than Cody Lapapa in the room. We're excited to have him. And so we finally got him on and we get to break some stuff down, talk to him, and get to hear his story. So, Cody, you want to give us a little intro about yourself, paintball, history with it,
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Let's see, I think I started playing paintball in like 2008. Started I feel like most people do at a birthday party. It was like chasers, laser tag, and paintball. And so that was my first experience. And I was hooked after that. I was like, dang, it's really fun to shoot people with these. And so after that, me and one of my buddies who was there, it was his birthday actually. We started going to Fox Paintball.
Okay.
It's in Illinois. It's like kind of near Sandwich, and just kind of started going there, playing 3-man, and the rest is history.
Heck yeah!
Said did that for just kind of played it as a hobby.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Some NXLs on a couple teams that I had, but usually just the Chicago event, maybe World Cup, kind of for fun. And then in 2018, started taking it a lot more serious, linked up with blastcamp, and then we started playing like the full NXL circuit. So
nice, dude. Heck yeah. No, and how old were you when you first held a paintball gun in your hand when that happened?
Well, I'd shot a paintball gun before that. I always thought they were cool, like airsoft and stuff, kid growing up. But in 2008, I was 13. So
13. Okay, awesome, dude. Well, then you grew and then went into blast camp, and then y'all got to move forward from there. And so blast camp. What division did y'all start out as?
We started playing D3 X ball. So we committed to the whole 2018. I believe it was the 2018 NXL. So we played all of those, and then we played some local events too. Mm-hmm. But we started out as D3, and then played D2 semi-pro and a year pro.
Okay, and then your progress from that. How long were y'all in semi-pro? Because in 2024, y'all went pro, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we went pro in Blast Camp went pro in 2024. And then how long were y'all semi-pro before that?
I believe 3 years.
Okay.
So 23, 2, 1, and then might have been the COVID year was a little, I kind of forgot what we did. I think we played a couple events because there wasn't all of them. So I'm not really counting that one, but I think 3 years total, 3 full years.
Okay. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Who was y'all's biggest rivalry now with Blast Camp when y'all were in semi-pro?
Yeah, so I'd say it started out as possibly a team. We would always play them in prelims, and we'd have really close matches, and we played them in a couple finals matches as well. And then obviously that kind of evolved into Paintball Fit in the 2023 season,
right?
When it was us and them in the finals every event. So,
right, going head to head with them. Now we get to go head to head with them on Heat. So just back at it again.
Yep. Some things never change.
That's right. You just meet again. Dude, that's awesome. So let's get this, because this is always an interesting question, I feel like. What was your first paintball marker?
My first paintball marker was a Spider Electra with eye.
Okay.
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah. So I remember, I think I got it for Christmas one year. And so I had that, and then pretty quickly after using that, upgraded to, I think, a Dangerous Power G3 and then an Ego 8. And then from then on, I mostly had Eclipse guns. I think I had like a Bob Long Victory in there at some point
Mhm.
too. But I remember as a kid, like watching YouTube videos, like the first Lux, like when it would like, because the board talked to you and stuff like that. I thought that
Yeah.
was like the coolest thing ever. I was like, this gun talks to you. Wow.
Right.
Uh,
Now
What
you're
if it's
rolling. Yeah, right. It really was. And then, now you get to roll in with it every event and time of practice. So that's
mhm.
nice.
Yeah.
Um, so kind of wanna dig into it. So how old are you now, Cody? How long have you been playing paintball for?
So I'm 29 now, and so I mean, if you go from 2008, it's about 17 years, but I'd kind of say the last 8 years competitively.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Yeah, no, and I love seeing you play on the field. Like it's just, you're an awesome player and like you're really fierce. So I
Thank
really
you.
get to, yeah, of course, I really get to enjoy seeing you on the field. I first got to, it was new for me, right? Because I've been with Heat for 3.5 years now, helping out in the pits and stuff. So the only thing I knew was what we had,
Mhm.
and then we finally made a change this year. And, I was excited because I knew, because Ronnie and I, we talk a lot. Um, and, when I found out that y'all were coming over to Heat, I was like, oh, this is going to be sick. I was super
Mhm.
pumped to have you guys. Y'all just y'all have a lot of depth and a lot of fire, and you know it's crazy to think about, right? But like most of these guys that we have on the team now have been in um they've been with Heat since the inception of Heat, really, and so it's wild to think of that there hadn't really been many changes. But when I heard that y'all were coming over, I was like, this is going to be awesome because it's going to be able to, new growth is really important, and new minds from different places is even more important because you start seeing outside perspectives and things differently. So and I think all of y'all are just super smart. Y'all have great heads on your shoulders. Is there Do you think there's a difference between like the two, because Heat's your second pro team? Is there a difference between like blast camp to Heat, like that kind of move from blast camp going into Heat like that? Like, is there a
Yeah,
difference in how
definitely.
things are? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's differences in a lot of ways, but just kind of going back and touching on what you said. Obviously, I've known about Heat for a while. Legendary
Hmm.
team. I've been friends with Ronnie for a while too.
Yeah.
So, just kind of seeing them grind together and stuff like that. Yeah, it didn't really feel like there was a lot of changes happening
Yeah.
on the team, which is good. It's something I kind of like. I like a team that is, relatively sticks with their core and makes progress together and build that team and that foundation together. So it's something that I've always liked.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's you know different in a lot of ways coming over this year. Sarge wanting to bring in some new people, some people that are new to the pro league and stuff to the team,
Hmm.
and just losing a couple people from the team that have been around for a while. So I'm sure it's a bit different for everybody in that way. But yeah, I mean, different in ways from Blast Camp is, I mean, I felt like on Blast Camp we were kind of player run. Virgil was extremely supportive. He's the backbone of Blast Camp,
Hmm.
field owner and all that stuff. So it gave us a place to play and the opportunity to grow and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, but we were, kind of making the decisions together as like a democracy, player democracy, and just kind of, running it ourselves, coaching ourselves, just, trying to help each other get better. We tried out a couple coaches here and there, but nothing stuck for too long. So,
Hmm.
it's nice to come over into Heat, where we have a couple designated coaches, Ryan and Pat. So just, having a little bit more support in that department is nice. Obviously, it's really different with the players too, because on Blast Camp, everybody was pretty much at the same level, right? We had never played pro before.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a big group of friends who've been playing for the last 5, 6, 7 years together. So we're all kind of at that same level, at the kind of same stage in our life and our paintball careers and stuff like that. So coming over here and being with a team that half the team has been playing pro for longer than I've been playing paintball. There's a lot of experience on the team. There's good friendships and chemistry between the existing players and stuff like that. So having to kind of work in there, being the new guys and stuff, it's a little different, but I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I take very seriously, anything that any of the guys say, because they've been around for a while, they know what they're doing, and just treat it as a great opportunity to learn and get better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, how was that coming over, into something like you said, guys that have been playing pro longer than you've been playing paintball, right? Was there a lot of nerves to it? Were you pretty excited? Like what was going through your mind when something like that? I think it's important because, everyone in the Heat organization wants everyone to be a family, right? Like everybody loves each other. They go to war on that field with each other, and they're like a support system, and like, was it kind of nerve-wracking for you coming into that, or was it just
yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect, really. I'd never really kind of made that big of a change. I've been on a couple teams like early in my paintball career, but again, we weren't it wasn't like as committed as this. We just play a couple events here and there, whenever you could show up to practice type deal. And so, like, being on Blast Camp for as long as I did, that was kind of what I consider like the first serious team, I guess. So this would be my first serious move. So I mean, yeah, it was, feeling a lot of different things, right? Like I didn't know what to expect necessarily, because I had never been on another team, let alone another pro team. It was bittersweet, being able to, get the opportunity, but having to leave some friends, behind with the whole situation with Blast Camp. And, thankful that a couple of them, Jackson and John, were able to come with and stuff, and, kind of makes that transition a little bit easier. You're not just the one new guy, you kind of got a handful. So that's nice, I get some familiar faces around there. But I wouldn't say I was too nervous, because, I mean, I've known who's on Heat, and, I've known Ronnie for a little bit too. Ronnie's a great guy, obviously. And, I knew it wasn't going to be, I knew like kind of what their vibe was about, family, having everybody's backs. I didn't want to just go to another team where you were like, oh, just a player just for the season or just for the event. With like kind of some instability. It feels like there's a decent amount of stability in the Heat camp, even though a lot of things have changed this year, but that was a big part in the decision to being able to have, I know nothing's promised or nothing's guaranteed, but having the sense of some stability and some commitment from everybody on the team, is nice. So
yeah, I remember, I got to first meet you guys, and back at the exposition, we did in Dallas. When we went out there, I got to help out, and doing some media and stuff like that. But I got on the phone, like Ronnie and I, everyone flew home, and I got on the phone with Ronnie next day. I was like, man, I love these guys. I was like, they're awesome. I was like, they're going to be great. And so, y'all just great people. Y'all are good paintball players and just good people. And I think, that's what the Heat Foundation is, is like, it needs it to be a family. It doesn't need a place of like egos, and, it's what is best for the team.
Yeah.
And everyone have that mindset. And I was really excited because you guys got there when I got to meet y'all, and I was like, they got the mindset. They got a great attitude. I was like, they play paintball really good. I was like, man, it's going to be awesome. So I was really excited to have, to see y'all come onto the team, and it's, I'm just really glad y'all are here. I think y'all add a lot of really positive benefits to the team and mindset, and, I really enjoy y'all. So I'm glad you're here. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's nice to be welcomed with open arms like that, and I think we're pretty easy to get along with. So,
100%.
like you said, it's very team oriented. I think we all have that mindset. Kind of got to put the team before yourself or any individual. And everybody wants to go out there and win for each other and have fun and get better doing it. So,
yeah, for sure, 100%. And that's what it's about. Being on a team, it's like, everyone has their moments, and then the people that are boosting those moments and boosting everybody and bringing everybody in, I think that's just part of being a selfless teammate and being a being just part of the core, part of the family. That's great. Yeah. And what was it? Oh, dude, Mr. Flying Eagle himself had the, I think y'all had, when y'all went out there against Infamous on that last point at the NXL, that was beautifully done by all of y'all.
Oh, in Cincinnati, yeah.
Yeah, and Cincy, y'all came out there swinging. I mean, what? It was what? It was 15-second point?
Yeah, 15 seconds. I think there was 15
so.
seconds left, and I think Jackson hit the buzzer with a couple left. So
Jackson hit the buzzer. Soap went up the middle. The video I got from, I was standing in like the coaching stand, and I recorded it. You know what was crazy? Was Soap went up the middle, and he actually shot that guy out.
Yeah, I think they traded. Yeah, and then he stayed in for a bit.
Yeah, he was in there for a solid 2 to 3 seconds, and he had his gun up, and it was that was impressive. But what's funny is, even in my video, you can see it clear as day. It was on his right thigh, just this big old yellow mark, and that dude was still in there just ripping it. And I was like, Pat was on the sidelines like, he's hit, and Chad George and I were telling Pat, and you can hear it in the video, we're like, shh, we're like, shut up, you're gonna get us a penalty. What was going through your mind in that point? Because that is, I mean, for this day and age, to make a 15-second point happen, that's a lot. And especially, I feel like on that field, how it was kind of cut off, because of the middle. Usually you could send someone down as a wrecking ball down the middle, and like you either had to jump over the beams or go real wide to get around it, and y'all were just hauling the mail. So I would like for you to kind of recap on what was going through your mind at that point from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything too crazy. We were hungry to get in there and play. 15 seconds left. I think we're up 3. So I mean, it was pretty much a guaranteed win in the match. So it wasn't a ton of pressure to go out there and score it to tie it or to win or anything. We were just kind of going to have fun. And so we all just sent it. I think I went around the Dorito corner and then just ran up, stopped at the 50 because the dude in the center did start shooting at me. So I just kind of hid behind that bunker for a couple seconds until it came out finally, and then met Jackson at the box. So,
and you were waiting.
I was like a step or two behind him, and he was coming in hot straight. So I was like, kind of pump the brakes a little bit, let him take that.
Don't get in front of him running full speed.
Mm-hmm.
He would knock you down for sure. Take you with him. He's going for that buzzer.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome. And oh my gosh, when he went over that he hit the buzzer and went over, I was like, there's always that hesitation because I've seen it so many times. People just flying to get to the buzzer. And I think the NXL should bring back that crash pad
Yeah, I
behind
was gonna
it.
say they didn't have it, so I wonder if it was, I think in a situation like that, it could be good, it could be bad, because like if you're going over it no matter what, then you're hitting something harder as opposed to just kind of going over on the ground. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know, but yeah, they didn't have it at the Cincinnati event, so
Right. That is 2 times this year Heat has sent it over the starting box for the buzzer. There was Sam last event
mhm,
in Atlantic City, and now we've had Jackson, and each time, and Sam was a little more, Jackson popped up pretty quick. So I was like, all right, he's good. He's not
mhm.
limping. He's not
I think
holding nothing.
I think
What's that?
Sam lost his mask, didn't he?
Sam lost
Like
his
in the second.
mask. And the funniest thing, apparently, the conversation he was having with the refs, they're like, put your mask on, put your mask on. And he was like, and he's pulling down his beanie. And they're like, no, put your mask on. So he pulls his mask on finally. But yeah, those moments, I'm like, being on the sideline, I'm always like, oh, I'm like, please just don't be hurt.
Yeah.
It's like, it's nerve-wracking until you see someone pop up and you can assess the situation, obviously if they're holding anything. I guess my biggest fear when y'all go over is y'all like stabbing yourself with the air tank. Like,
Yeah, that or, barrels going somewhere, or,
yeah.
if they have that camera stand too close behind there or something like that, but
Oh, it's
yeah. Usually
always,
it's good, not too
yeah,
bad, but
for sure.
yeah.
So, no, super impressive. And I wanted to just chime in how impressed I was with y'all. I know y'all didn't like you, so Jackson, Andy, you know, I know y'all didn't get a lot of play time this last event, but I want to say how you held yourself up as a teammate. I was like, these guys are it. They get it. They're selfless. And I was just like, and me as a pit guy, I was so appreciative of y'all stepping up. Y'all were working just as hard. Y'all were feeding information when the guys that if they were spinning again, y'all were giving information back to those guys and helping them out. And, because I'm normally on, guns and wiping down. And I was so busy trying to control the paint
Mhm.
this event, I couldn't really do that. And we were actually down typically, 2 people in the pits. Actually, no, that's a lie. Usually we have 3 extra people in the pits. 2 doing guns, another guy wiping down, and that's where we're at. We were actually at deficit this time, but y'all all stepped in and just made it a very easy like transition for players coming on and off. The only thing, I hate that y'all have to do that because we were deficit in the pits, but I mean, y'all were like, this is where we can help.
Mhm.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a team, so, I mean, whether you're just wiping hits or filling pods or out there playing, everybody contributes in some way, and, I mean, being the new guys, I mean, obviously, everybody wants to play, everybody wants a starting spot, um, but, being the new guys with a lot less experience than, the 5 veterans that have been on Heat for a while, kinda had to know that there was probably gonna be a little bit of bench time there, so, I mean, it's nothing to get mad at. If anything, it's a motivator to just, do better in practice and show up when you're ready like you did at you know, the 15-second point or whatever. I think that was the first
Mhm.
one we played for a bit, so, came out hungry, did our job, was there when they needed us, and then, right back to the pits helping the guys get ready, whatever we need there,
Yeah.
so I mean, yeah, we don't always have, all the help, sometimes we gotta pivot, switch roles, you're doing the paint last event, so we were kind of on, player duty, helping them get ready and stuff like that. But, that's something I learned pretty early on playing, a couple first competitive national events is like, do you really need a lot of help to make this, run smoothly and happen? Otherwise, it's very easy to get flustered. You could be the best 5 guys in the world, and if you have nobody in your pits helping you out, you're not going to make it very far. So,
yeah, and usually we have a lot more help, like I said, but I was so thankful for y'all, and I thought the world of y'all. Not that y'all have ever had that kind of, how to word this. Y'all have never had an ego where anyone has ever thought like, oh, if we're not playing, we're not helping. You see that on teams, and but when I thought that, it meant the world to me too, and I know it did the other guys. They all were just digging in and making the team successful in any way, form, or fashion, and that was it was huge. We couldn't have done it without your help and everyone stepping up. So thank you.
yeah, absolutely, man.
It meant the world. I do love getting to watch you play. I mean, your movements and everything are super. Just dude, I really enjoy it. I really got to see. Whenever I came to Houston to the practice for Atlantic City, I really got to see how you move because I was out there. I was filming.
Mm-hmm.
So I really got to see how you move and react, and it was really exciting to see. And I know that there's just amazing things, and I know you're fierce. Like you were fierce in that snake, and you're trouble. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Playing
a little bit everywhere too, so some on the Dorito side, some back center, a little bit in the snake. So
yeah, exactly. And I think that's really important too, being a utility attacker, being able to kind of not just be honed into one side is huge, right? Like it's like a multi-tool, right? You got everything you need, so you can go out there and you can go to work, clock in. Yeah. So I do want to ask. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Just like versatility, it's a good thing to have in your tool bag.
It is. What is your favorite thing to go out and or side? Where do you like playing the most? I would like to ask, I guess.
I've played on the snake side for a majority of my career. I don't mind the Dorito sides, but if I had to pick like one or the snake or the Dorito side, I'd probably lean more towards the snake. But I think it's layout dependent. I do like kind of going short a little bit and like working my way into the snake rather than just kind of going snake off the break and then just being head down in the dirt the whole time. And it's something a little bit more satisfying. I feel like kind of working your way in there, talking with your boys, and then shooting your gun and stuff like that. Yeah, I think layout dependent. Like I said, I've been kind of playing everywhere. It's been a lot. I feel like the layouts recently have been a lot of kind of stationary bunkers like that can on the snake side in Atlantic City or the Aztec in Cincinnati. You kind of go there and sit for a little while. It's kind of in no man's land. So I don't know. I hope we see some layouts in Texas, the World Cup, coming up soon. Maybe just a little bit more options back there rather than just the one bunker to go to on that side. So we'll see.
Right. Yeah, it's been interesting that they've kind of been leaning on that here recently. I think he's just trying to mix it up and
yeah, I think they're trying to see what looks the best to watch, whether that's like a fast-paced game or, interesting layout like that. But I feel like somehow it kind of always devolves into, we had a couple 10-minute points there in Cincinnati. I think when we first saw the layout, people were assuming it was going to go really quickly because of the, snake across the entire field. But then you put that lone Aztec in there that kind of sees the gap and it slows down a bit. So Yeah, I don't know. It seems the NXL is definitely trying out some things this year. Like I said, we met in the beginning of the year in Dallas, and we were doing a bunch of different formats. We were smacking cones, we were limiting pods. We were playing uneven body situations, just trying out stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then obviously in Cincinnati, we did the pro 3-man and stuff like that. So who knows what they're going to throw at us next?
Yeah, I mean, that one was like so, I know, what was it? Ronnie was saying that was really similar to the NXL Vegas, our Las Vegas event. On that layout.
Field.
What's that?
The layout, the Cincinnati layout.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it was like asymmetrical.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that to be interesting because I don't know because like in the exposition, they were talking about, we're trying to find a format that makes it faster paced, and we're trying to make it more appealing to watchers and all this and that. And I'm like, man, that's not it. That's not your fast. That's not your fast field, because it's just holding it down and waiting for someone to make a mistake. But I don't know. I think that would be more limited if you're trying to make it faster. I think you would have to go into like limited pods. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not, my head's not in those meetings, but whether it's just for fan appeal or like broadcast ability or something like that. But yeah, those asymmetrical layouts are interesting because you get, you're not playing against the other team's like same position as you, right? Like you got your snake guys going head to head with like the other team's Dorito guys, right? Because the
yeah,
fields are like that and stuff. So it's a little bit interesting in that aspect. I do like the fact that um, those layouts give the sidelines a chance to see both sides, because normally you'll have the snake on one side, let's say it's on the pit side, and then so the fan side only sees the Dorito side.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody's in the snake, like they can't even see him. So those
Right.
asymmetrical layouts are kind of cool in that aspect. So I can see where they're coming from like a fan perspective, or to watch those layouts. It's pretty cool to kind of get a mixture of the two.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
It
definitely a little when you're making calls and stuff like that. You got to switch your calls. It usually takes about a half day or so to make sure everybody is on the same page and not calling stuff, because I did a practice one time. I called a bunker that is normally like right in front of us, but on this field layout, it was on the other side. And so I'm like, okay, that's a huge, change.
Yeah.
So dial that in.
Yeah, it's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you like more of that style of a layout, or do you like more traditional heads up, type of layout?
I'd say I probably prefer a more traditional layout. I like a kind of going back to what I said earlier about, being able to go to a position and then kind of work forward. Um, I like, older layouts that had a decent amount of options, like off the break. Because I feel like nowadays you got 3, 4 bunkers kind of in a line on the back. And so you kind of know where everybody's going to go is pretty much those 4 bunkers, and then maybe send one out running or send one up the middle or something like that. So, kind of having a little bit more option as far as where you're going off the break, and not being so limited to like, oh, if I go here, like you can't really like backtrack and go to the snake. You kind of have to go up the middle. Obviously you can do anything, but it's not really conducive to go jump a beam or run backwards and around, something like that. So,
Right.
but yeah, traditionally, more of a heads up layout. I like um, like a long snake where you can battle down, like fight your way into position, and then get some kills cross field, something like that. I'm not a huge fan of like how many bricks there are now, like big brick and wedge bunkers. It seems like half the field is kind of like snake beams and wedges or bricks, whereas before it used to be like Aztecs or temples or cans and stuff like that. So it's like
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's changing and evolving, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of like an old classic snake with just,
Yeah.
5, 6 knuckles just straight down. You gotta,
Yeah.
you can battle each other on the wire, look inside, maybe, try and work somebody out of position that way, something like that.
100%. Yeah, it's been crazy the past couple years. They've been putting those giant bricks up the middle, and you're just like, it's like, geez, it's kind of almost reminding me. The only difference is you can shoot over the bricks, but it
Mhm.
reminds me of the big X that used to be in the middle and just block out
Yeah.
the center. I know it's
Yeah.
not
X
the
was a weird
same.
bunker. It's like you could play it off the break, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
So
just
I don't know. I always thought it was so cool. When I started, they still had some big X's around. It was like a
yeah,
staple, like you kind of walk past the field like, oh, they're playing X ball over here. Like, see what's going down.
yeah. Did you ever were they always standing, or did you ever see them laid over?
Yeah, I saw a couple like laying down, so you kind of have the 4 different sections
Yeah.
to go in. Yeah, that was interesting. And then obviously like
Yeah.
the Millennium series when they had like the M, wasn't much of a
Uh-huh.
bunker, more of a logo in the
Yeah.
field. Yeah.
Do do you remember the balls can? Was that before your day? Have you seen those? The
That
balls
was
energy
early,
drink?
yeah, I've seen those. I feel like that was a very appropriate sponsor for paintball at the time, so
Right?
kind of went with the whole vibe and everything. So
Have you ever had that drink before? Have you ever seen
no,
one?
I don't really I've seen them, yeah. Or I used to see them. I don't think they're around anymore, but
Yeah.
I don't really drink energy drinks. So
So the first time I had, I'm gonna butcher the name, I'm sure. Guarana. First time I had it, I was 15 years old. I was in Brazil. And like down there, it put our energy drinks to shame.
yeah, they
But
just jacked up.
oh, dude, it was wild. And then I came back to the States and I found balls, and it was, it's a guarana drink. Man, it still isn't nothing as potent as it was down in Brazil.
Mhm.
But it was a crazy for anyone that's listening that hasn't ever seen it or heard of it. It was this crazy. They had a few different colored bottles. The original was dark blue. They had a root beer. They had like a cherry flavor in a clear bottle. But the bottle, I don't even know how to really describe the bottle, but it was glass, and then it had all these little nubs,
Mhm. Yeah,
like
I remember those.
yeah, and
Little knobbies.
yeah, little knobby things on it, and it was crazy. They were a great drink. I loved them. I actually preferred those over energy drinks because there's a lot less crap in those. But I really enjoyed them, and I wish that company was still around. I found them up till about 7 years ago. Our Ace Hardware store sold them with like the nostalgic soda stuff.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, and I would like every time I popped in there, I was like, "Yeah, give me one of those." And then I haven't seen them anymore. It's been like 6, 7 years. So that was like the last place. They also sold Surge too.
Surge. I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with that one.
What? Oh man, you are a young buck. Surge was Coca-Cola's version of Mountain Dew,
Okay, interesting.
but it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I found some in there once, and I was like, no way. It actually showed up on my feed. Um, kind of the past post stuff,
Okay,
and
yeah.
it popped up the other day, and I was like, oh man, I was like, stuff was good, but it's funny
Throwback.
how things come and go. Yeah. Um.
Yep. Oh, man.
So back into it. So you do like heads up? Yeah, I like more traditional field. I think it's really cool to get to see those battles go down like that. I think that's what makes for great showing, right? For people to watch. You're watching these two guys on the Dorito, or 2 or 3 or 4 guys stacked up in the snake,
Mhm.
just duking it out, and everybody's just getting some in there. And I think that makes for a really good showing for television. I think it's a lot. I don't think you get that near as much when you have these asymmetrical fields, like that are mirrored in that sense.
Yeah.
But what do you think about limited paint? Do you like being able to run full blown as many pods as you want? Like someone can bring 13 if they wanted. Do you like that, or do you prefer something where it's like you've got to make moves and it's not
Mhm.
holding the lane down? Like,
Yeah.
because that's what limited paint
I definitely think
does.
right. Yeah, no, I definitely think it would be interesting if, we started doing limited paint. You know, I don't have a super strong opinion on it. Honestly, it would probably benefit me more
Yeah.
because I've never been a person to take, like, a ton of pods out there.
Yeah.
So, it wouldn't be too much of a change for me. Um, but I think, like, I don't know, I guess the battle with it is, like, there's different jobs and different roles on the field,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, with the different positions and stuff, and so, like, that kinda calls for different things, right? Like, you have your back center who's probably gonna have 10 pods plus.
Yeah.
Your snake guy's probably not gonna have 10 pods, because he's running and crawling and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I see the argument there, and I see, how it's gonna hinder some people and probably help other teams and stuff like that. People can't just sit there and pump all their paint.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I guess I think it depends what the goal is. Like me as a player, again, I don't have a super strong opinion one way or the other. Um, but again, if I was like a back player and I had a minimum of 10 pods, I probably wouldn't be too fond of it. But as somebody who typically moves a little bit more and carries less paint, it would probably be in my benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just goes back to, what is the league trying to accomplish with that? Are we trying to
Mm-hmm.
do faster paced games? Because I don't think it's a guarantee either that, it speeds the games up. I think it changes it in the way that, like, people aren't just going to sit there and pump lanes all day, but like, if you watch, like, um, I think Jackson was on, like, the U19 team for
Mm-hmm.
USA, and, like, they do, like, 4 pods, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember watching some of those games and, they would just kinda be stalemate, like, someone would have a pod or a loader left, and it'd be like a 2-on-2, and, you know, nobody's really moving, but also nobody's shooting either, so, like, it's kind of boring in that sense because 'cause you're sitting there for a couple minutes just waiting for somebody to do something, so
Right.
um, like, in theory, right, it speeds up the game because you can't sit there and do that, but at the same time, like, we've seen, you know, numerous games, go to overtime or go 10 minutes long
Mm-hmm.
because people kinda run out of paint, and then nobody wants to make a mistake, and they're just sitting there. So I think it would almost kinda develop into that situation a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
often, in my opinion, um, but I don't know.
No,
So
that's a great point, right? Once you start getting down to the nitty gritty, you're like, you kind of revert to that. All right, it's almost like no one's pumping a lane now, but that guy's there holding it. So you're
mhm,
like, nothing I can do about it till someone makes a mistake, right?
yeah.
That's a great point. That's really
Mm,
smart. So that kind of wanted me to ask
yeah,
you, with paintball, there's people who are really, really good at paintball because they're very analytical. They break it down. They have this with their mind where they do that, or use someone where it's like, and then there's two kinds, right? You got the analytical people of it, and then you got the people who were like, I'm going to go out there and practice every day, all the time that I can, and you know, would you say you're a mix? Would you say mix of that? Would you say you're more analytical, or you're the kind of guy that likes getting out there and getting after it a lot?
mhm. Yeah, definitely a mix. I'd say maybe 70-30. I'm really analytical by nature,
Mm-hmm.
just in, like, growing up in school and work and stuff like that, and then kinda translating that over to paintball. But at the same time, I learn really well by doing.
Mhm.
So, I mean, whether that's practicing on the layout or just going out there and getting tournament experience, like that kind of sinks in my mind, and um, you kind of like remember it more, at least in my opinion, when you're out there
Mhm.
doing it. Because sometimes it can be hard to have all those things going through your head. Some people just go out there with like, an empty head and they're just like attack. Other people are sitting back there calculating everything. So I think, off the field, I'm more analytical. And then on the field, I'm really trying to like develop that muscle memory, what
Mhm.
works, what doesn't, what to do in certain situations. And then, just remembering the basics.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a good mix though. If you can have that being more like you build that muscle memory into it, and then you can also be analytical at the same time. I think that's a dangerous combo to have. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Did you get out and play a little bit this weekend?
Yeah, yeah. I went to blastcamp this weekend. It's like my local field. It's about an
Yeah,
hour away, but it was another hot day. I think it was like 93. But we went out, played some paintball, got some
yeah,
lunch. So it was a good day.
dude. Heck yeah. No, that's awesome. I'm glad you got back out there and started getting after it. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go play this weekend. I'm bringing my buddy out who's never really played on a field. He's played a little bit with his buddies in like in the woods and stuff.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I get released tomorrow from my surgery, or not surgery, but my 6
Recovery.
weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
for my post-op recovery stuff. So I finally get to get back out there, and I'm like, I've been going insane. I can't even go like fly fishing right now, because
Everything's feeling good, or you're just following strict orders?
following orders.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there are some holes that had to fill back, that were in my bone. So
I need some
yeah,
time to heal.
yeah, it's a long process, but after being through the process once of having to get metal put back in there, it's like
You don't
I
want to
don't
go
want to
through
deal with that
that.
again. Like, and then deal with the recovery again. I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
about that would be a total of 5 months in recovery. It's crazy. When I broke it, I was actually 6 months non-weight bearing. It was such a bad break. I was
Oof.
on crutches for 6 months. Some of it was assisted, right? Like it was at the last like end of the month and a half of it.
Yeah.
I
But still,
was
it changes your life getting around, and then even after that, you kind of gotta do some catch up work because you've been, haven't been using that particular limb or that side of your body for a while. So it's
oh
even beyond the 5 months, right?
yeah, and it's crazy how quick even after this surgery, right? It's crazy how quick your muscle goes away. I was like day 3 or 4, I wasn't hard casted. I was in like a soft cast with gauze and ace wrap because they weren't, and then a walking boot, right?
Mhm.
They didn't want to have to hard cast me, so which I'm thankful for. Um, but what's crazy is like one day I could see the top of my calf still kind of closer to my knee, and I was like trying to flex it, and I couldn't flex it, and I slapped it. It was like, and I slapped it while I was trying to flex it. It was like Jello. I was like, oh man. So,
Uh,
but yeah, I'm going down
that's
July
cool.
6th this Sunday, and I'm gonna get out. Chad G's coming out.
Nice. What field do you
So
guys go to?
dynamic. Dynamic is kind of they. I've always played at dynamic down here. You have Blitz. So Denver's the closest thing for me. It's like a 2-hour drive because I live up in the mountains.
Mhm.
So it's dynamic, Blitz, paintball Coliseum. Um, we used to have an indoor, and they said they're going to get a new one up, but they took the other one down, like move locations or something. I don't know. They haven't
Okay.
gotten it in yet, but so Blitz would only allow, you can only play um, on like their airfields if you were part of their semi-pro team. And now they don't have a semi-pro team anymore. So they
Okay.
got rid of it. They're rec ball only. Paintball Coliseum. I haven't been out there. Like I said, I used to go to their indoor in the wintertime and stuff. But, Dynamic just put in, since Blitz, they got a lot of players coming over now because Blitz got rid of their airfield. So now they're going to they have 2 airfields, a small hyperball field, and like a massive rec ball field. So Mike, the owner's super cool. He's a great guy. So we go out there, and it's where Chad and I have been going out and grinding out. So yeah, we got Chad, my buddy. I think another friend's going to come out. So who knows? We may get some kind of goon squad going and just try and go and beat up on some people. I'm going to probably be a lot apprehensive of sliding.
Yeah, stay on your feet, man. Just shoot your gun.
Yeah, I've never played back. Like I'd rather be on the outside, be on the wire, being in the snake or Dorito. I don't care which one. But yeah, I'm like, I probably don't need to be diving. Don't need to be sliding around. So well, I do want to ask, now that you're kind of on a different, you're on a new team this year, who is someone that you've really liked being on the field with? Like someone that's either, because it changes up on heat so much. I feel like some people will attack one point, the other next point you could, play the 2 and play behind them. Who do you like kind of playing with? Who do you like playing in front of, behind of? Kind of like what does that come of? Since you're on a new team, right? I mean, new people to kind of run that with.
Yeah. I think I'm still developing that and figuring it out. Like we touched on earlier, I've been playing a little bit of everywhere. So I've played with Chad, played with Mishka, played with Ronnie, a little bit with Sam and Ryan in practice. So a little bit of everybody. Obviously, I'm used to playing with Jackson and John. Although they're typically, I'm typically out on one side and John's usually up the middle and Jackson in the back center or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think I don't really have like a favorite or anything like that. I like to be able to just kind of learn how everybody plays and stuff like that. And I think, something that was, really fluid for us on Blast Camp was we'd all been playing with each other for so long that we really knew each other's play styles and body language and stuff like that, as I'm sure, all the veteran Heat guys do for each other. But there was a lot of, nonverbal communication and just stuff like that. And you kind of knew what was happening based on, what you're seeing out there. So really just trying to work on developing that with, the guys on Heat that have been around and stuff like that. Jackson, Soap, and I, still have a good bit of that. So if we're out there together, it flows a little bit easier. But then, for the other guys, in practice, especially earlier this season, just getting some work in with Chad and Ryan, learning how they play and stuff like that. Sam in the back center and stuff. So I think it's been a little bit difficult for me when I've been on the Dorito side, like with Mishka, kind of, learning how to communicate with him the best way. Obviously English isn't his first language. He does speak really well. But just kind of the tone and the urgency that everybody uses and stuff like that is different for everybody. So just working at that. But yeah, really just trying to level up in that aspect with everybody so we can all be on the same page, because it does feel like we said, they've been playing for so long and together for so long, and then we're kind of the new guys. So we're trying to close that gap and, make those connections stronger on and off the field.
Well, and that's all, that's why there's a term growing pains, right? Like there's all those things that, you when you go, it's like even a new job, right? You go to a new job, you got to figure out your coworkers, your boss, You got to figure out how the routine is, like what's it like. It's that aspect in all kinds of life when you go into anything new. But I think y'all are doing a great job at it, and I think y'all are really y'all are doing well. There's I mean you even see it in like, well, what's funny is like there's some players that have been around a long time. They go to a new team, and it's like they don't even play well with that team, But I feel like y'all have come in and y'all have been so open-minded to everything, and y'all are so hungry to be here and be a part of it. I think y'all haven't even had those major issues that can happen coming onto a team. I think y'all have mended, and I think you've blended in really well with the organization and done a really good job at it. I think that has a lot to go back with. Y'all are hungry, y'all are good, and that you just have the heart and mind for it, right? And that shows. So, yeah, Mishka's funny, isn't he? It's like he could be really calm or really urgent all at one point. Like he sounds urgent, but he was actually like you don't know how to decipher it because it's how Mishka is. And it's so funny, even some of the other guys, they're like, they're just like, they're like, yeah, sometimes I'm confused too. But
yeah, I don't know if that ever goes away, but yeah, it's definitely been a bit of a learning curve over there, but I enjoy it. Mishka's a great guy. So.
Oh, he's a great player. He's really fun to be out there with. But yeah, so that's awesome, dude. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I know we're coming up on an hour. What trying to think. What are some of your favorite drills that you like to go out and do? You said you were already back out there in Adel. So what are some of the things that you like to do coming off of like a tournament or just daily practice? Like what are just some things that you like to work on?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time when we go to blastcamp, so I played on Sunday this weekend, so there was a lot of people out there. So we just pretty much played pickup points and stuff like that. But
Nice.
in that situation, I'm just working because I was playing with Jackson. Ronnie wasn't able to come out, so it was just the two of us, and then some of our buddies from blastcamp too.
Nice.
But just continuing to work on communication. Sometimes in points like that, I like to do, we call it like an amigo drill. So like you get to your spots and you can't move at all until you're up two bodies.
Wow.
So just stuff like that, to kind of encourage communication and, locking down different spots and stuff like that. But, I wouldn't say I have like too many favorite drills. I guess it depends on, kind of what I'm feeling that weekend, or, if I feel I need to work on a certain area or something like that. But, like island drills are always fun, for like learning a field. And then, I like to, I used to always like to start the day out with like some one-on-ones, because typically like, you haven't played all week or the last couple weeks or whatever, so then rather than getting out there in a full-fledged point, just go play a couple one-on-ones, get the blood flowing, shoot your gun, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Awesome.
That's about it though.
Well, something Ryan and I always do, I always ask Ryan, I know you're not a dad yet in life, but life advice. I always ask him for like dad life advice. What are some things that you want to give something, whether it's like some kind of encouragement or just outlook of life, things like that. What's something you would want to drop on some people that they could use in their day-to-day kind of to help them out, make them better, whatever it may be?
Yeah. I don't have any magic words really, but I mean, speaking in paintball terms, I guess, there's a lot of people out there that want want to play up at those higher levels and stuff like that. And, just thinking back on the journey that I took to get there, which, when I started, it wasn't like, oh, like, what do I got to do to go pro? I was just kind of out there, playing around. And then even as recently as like when we started on blastcamp, it wasn't necessarily like, that was a goal that I was working towards. We were just kind of having fun with our friends. And of course we wanted to be competitive and win and stuff like that. And then as we started doing that, I was like, oh, like, okay, this is, we're getting closer to being pro, and that's actually obtainable. So like, it's a very obtainable goal. If that's what you want, be persistent, go to your field, chat up the local guys who are playing at high levels, try and play up, get as much tournament experience as you can. Because nowadays I see guys that, only been playing a couple years and they're already, playing semi-pro, or, I think there's a lot of young pros in the league this year too. So, I mean, hey, if you pick up the gun, it's something that you're good at, there's no time limit or, requirements of what you have to do or how long you have to do it before you can get there. That's kind of the cool thing about paintball is, if it comes naturally to you and you get out there and somebody notices you, you could be playing pro next year. So, just keep at it, be persistent, and that's about it, man.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you so much for making time this evening to hop on here. I've been really wanting to have you on for quite some time now. It's actually since Ryan and I have started this. Like I said, I was a fan of how you played even on blastcamp, and then was really excited to see you come over because it's kind of like I took Ryan and I talked on our last podcast, or our last episode. New growth is so good for. I broke it down into like new growth in a forest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like new growth is so good for that forest. It helps rejuvenate and brings new life and helps expand, right? And it does all these very positive, beneficial things. And that's kind of what y'all brought to Heat, and I think it's a thing that Heat needed majorly. Like, I think we needed new growth in there, and I was really excited, and I've just been really stoked to see y'all show up the way y'all do, and y'all do a good job. And love hanging out, love it when we all get to hang out, and spend time with each other, even if, outside of the field. So it's all been great. And just, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for the time tonight. I will say this to all of our viewers and listeners. Don't forget real quick before I let you go, we are doing a giveaway right now. So if you didn't hear, we're doing a giveaway, GOG Enemy Mechanical Marker, and we are giving away a 16-inch Freak XL carbon barrel. We're doing it for people who don't have a setup yet. People that couldn't, whether they can't afford it or they can't, it's just not in the means to get a gun right now, but they want to be at the field. And if that's the difference maker of getting a kid or someone else just out at the field, just let us know. DM us with a little story about yourself. We're going to give it away. We're not going to make it public. We're not doing a raffle. The person that writes us and DMs us, Ryan and I are going to pick someone. So it's unbiased, so we're just going to, pick someone who needs it. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow on YouTube, Instagram, and all that jazz. And don't forget, we do also have a Discord going. We are excited and we are active in there. You can help us pick our next guest and things of that nature. We have a lot of subsections you can go into. So anyways, enough with that rant. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Cody, Mr. Lapapa, for coming in and joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime. We'll catch you on the next one.
Sweet, guys. See you later.
See ya.